Right, in this video, I'm gonna create a CRUD operation server. The server is gonna be on Express.js and Node.js. You'll have to install Node.js first if you haven't already. And I have created a new folder called Express. Then I'm gonna create a new file here called server.js. And we need to install a package called Express. I'm gonna do that now, npm. First, we need to initialize the project, npm init. Right, and then install Express, install Express. Right, it's installed, and then I'm gonna import the Express. Right, I have imported it, and I'm gonna create a new app with this. Call it my app. By calling this method, this Express method, an app will be created here. And then I'm gonna create a let variable. I'm gonna assume that as a database for now. I'm calling it users and then assigning it to an empty array. Right. This is gonna act as a database. Right. I'm gonna create a new endpoint to see what's inside of here. I'm gonna say get. There are multiple endpoint methods. One is get and post and delete and stuff like that. I'm using get for this. I'm saying current data. In here, I'm going to pass a variable. I'm going to pass a method. Actually, we call it function in JavaScript. And then I'm going to send this as a response. This is how you create an endpoint. First, you need to put the endpoint URL and then a method. That method gets two variables, actually three. For now, we only need two, request and response. I'm going to response by saying response.send and the users, this variable, right? And then I'm going to listen. You need to listen so that this app can listen on any port. Like you can specify the port. I'm going to specify 3000 for now. Then I'm going to pass a method saying the server is started on port 3000. What it does is it tries to listen to the app, actually starts the app on this port 3000, and then when it succeeds, this method will be executed. That means this log will be executed, will be printed. Right. I'm gonna run the file now. Node server.js. I started, and let's try the current data. Let's see if we get this. I'm gonna create a new request file. Request. I'm using Insomnia, by the way, to test the API, test the server. Right. I'm calling current data. This will be a get method because we specified get here. This will be a get, right? In here, localhost 3000. That's what we put here, the port number, and then the current data. Current data. Let's see. Yeah, we get an array, empty array. Right. That works. Let's just put something here. Let's put a user here. Name is gonna be me, and then location, put SL. Right, this should show here. I'm gonna restart the server and then I'm gonna request the current data. Yeah, we get the user list, which is this. We have only one user here for now. Right, I'm gonna create another endpoint to create a user. I'm gonna say post method right now and then user endpoint. When someone sends a post method, post request to this user, this method will be executed. Now what I have to do is I have to create a new user. Let's call it new user. And this is going to be name something and then location. Location is going to be something. Right. How do we get this data? So when someone posts something to this endpoint, I'm gonna send a JSON request. Like I'm gonna send JSON body, and then you can get the data from the JSON. Let's say you're sending it from a form or something, login form or register form or something, and it comes through here. And then I'm gonna create a new user from here. I'm gonna do it like this. First you have to use express method, express middleware we call it. It's actually a method JSON. Right, this returns a middleware, and I'm using the middleware in this app. What it does is when you send something from here as a JSON request, this will be passed to this request. We can access it like this: request dot body dot name. I'm going to create a new, first I'm going to create location as well. Right, this is how we're going to send it. I'm going to create a new request. I'm going to call it create user. This is going to be a post method because we put post here, and then the URL is going to be the same but with user endpoint. We called it user here. right? So it's going to be user, and then I'm going to send the body as JSON. I'm going to send the name. This is case sensitive, so if you put capital N, it's not going to work because we are getting simple N. So it's going to be simple N, let's say Bob, and then the location is going to be, say, US, right? This JSON, when I send this JSON, it should come here, and then new user variable will be created. And then what I have to do is I have to push this user to this user array, right? Remember, we called it a database for now. In real world scenario, you'll connect to MySQL or Postgres server or MongoDB or something, and then you push it to that server. For now, I'm gonna push it to this variable, right? Users dot push the new user, right? This will add this user to this variable, and it's not enough. We have to send a response as well, saying success or something. Send. I'm going to send the new user. When succeeds, this request sends the new user, right? Let's try this. I'm going to restart the server again, and then go to use, check the current data. Right now we have only one user, and I'm going to the create user endpoint, sending a post request with this JSON Bob and user US, and I'm sending it. Right, the request returned this variable. That means it's created. Let's check it here. Current data to this endpoint, sending it. We have two users right now, and this works. Right, now what we have to do is we have to create another endpoint. This time it's gonna be delete. This is also a delete method. This is also a method which is delete. Okay, right. I'm gonna create a new request here called delete user. This time it's gonna be delete. Same endpoint. This is gonna be a delete endpoint, right? I'm gonna delete the user we are sending. I'm gonna send a JSON request as previously. I'm gonna send an index. Then I'm gonna say, let's say 1 for now. Remember, the array starts from 0, so 1 means second item. When you say 1, it'll delete the second item. So I'm gonna write the logic to delete the item. I'm gonna say new users and say current users, and then filter. Index is gonna be request.body.index. This is the name that we are calling here, that we're sending here. So this should be the same. And what it does is it gets the index and then deletes the index. This is the logic for deleting the index. It's the filter method, and then we're checking if the index is not equal to this index, and then return true. That means you don't have to worry about that, because it's just, what it does is just remove the index. When you say 1 in the index 1, it's going to delete the second item. Right, that's what it does. Right, I'm going to send another response. If you don't send a response, this will wait for a response, so it's not going to end. So it's going to wait until something happens. So I'm going to send a response to complete the request. I'm going to say success. So successfully deleted. Right, now I can restart the server again and then go to the current data. We have only one user. I'm going to create a new user, and then we have two users now. I'm going to go to delete user and then delete the first one. That means second one. This Bob guy will be deleted. I'm sending one. Send successfully deleted. Right, go to current data, check it again. Right, it didn't delete. Oh, because I'm only deleting here, and then I have to set this to the current users, and then set it to new users. That means I'm deleting that indexed user and then creating a new list without that user, then assigning it to the old users variable. This should work now. I'm running the server again. Go to the current data. I have one user. I'm creating a new user and then checking it again. I have two users now. Deleting the first index is deleted. Let's check the current data. It's gone. Let's create another user. Let's say Alan, and SL again. We have created a new user, and then let's say another one, John. We have created another one. Let's check the database. Database means this variable, and then we have three users now. I'm going to delete delete the third one. No, the first one. Let's delete the first one, which is 0. Array starts from 0. So index 0, I'm going to delete this one. It's deleted. Check the current data. Right, the first one is gone. Right, the delete function is working. Right, now I'm going to create another endpoint to update a user. Let's let's create another endpoint like this. I'm copy pasting because I'm kind of lazy a bit. Right, user, I'm gonna say put for this. It's also a method. We can see here put method. Right, when you put to this variable, to this endpoint, this method will be called. So I'm gonna update the user. I'm gonna need the index for that. Index, we're getting it from request.body.index. We'll create a new variable called updated user. Then in the name, it's going to be request.name, body.name, and then the location is going to be request.body.location. Right, this is the updated user. Right, we have the index and the updated user details. Now I should update the actual user. Right, I'm gonna say user, users, and then the index that we are sending, and then set that user to this new variable. Or we can just call it like this and delete this variable, doesn't matter. I'm gonna put it like this so that you can read it better, right? And then I'm gonna send a response so they won't wait. Send. Let's call it user updated. Right. Right, let's start the server again. Then I'm going to create a new request called update user. This time it's going to be put method. You don't have to actually use put. You can use post as well, and then do something here like add the ID or something here. But I'm using put for now. It doesn't matter actually. The same URL, same endpoint. And then I'm going to send a JSON here as well. I need index this time. It's going to be, let's say, 1, and the user, sorry, name is going to be 1, and the age, sorry, location is gonna be SL. Right now I'm checking the current users. It's me, SL. Right, let's say I'm creating another user. Now we have 2 users. I'm going to change this John UK from SL. I'm going to update the user. Let's say, what is this ID? This guy's ID is 1 because 0, 1. I starts from 0. Update the index 1 and then change the name to John 2, let's say. No, John Doe. Right, SL. This will change to John Doe and then this will change to UK. Sorry, SL. I'm sending it. User updated. Let's see the current data. Right, it's changed. If you want to change it again, let's say John Doe 2 and then US. Send it again. User updated. Check the current data. Right, John Doe 2. Yes, it's updated. Right. The only thing missing is another get method to check one user. Say user, and let's call the endpoint like this because we're going to create another get method and it's going to be user and then slash the index number. This is how you get the dynamic URL parameters, a colon and then the variable name, and then this is how you would get the index. So you get the variable inside of here like request dot params dot the variable name, which is index. Right, we get the index here, and then what we have to do is get the send the user, sorry, request dot send, just the whole user variable, and then the index. They should send the specific user from here. We'll have this. We don't need this. It's automatically imported. Right. Let's check this method now. Create a new request. Get user. Oh, sorry. I'm typing here. Right, in here, get user, it's going to be a get method, and then the URL is going to be same but with another index variable, index parameter. I'm going to say 1. I'm going to restart the server again. I'm going to check the current users, and I'm going to create another user. We have 2 users now, and then go to get user. I'm going to get the first one. Actually, when you say 1, it's going to be the second one. Right, send is not a function. Right, this is not request.send. This should be response.send. That was wrong. Right, let's try to create another user, and then we have 2 users in the database, and then get a user. Right, we're getting the first one. Let's say 0, we're getting the first one, and you say 1, it's gonna get the first one, actually the second one. Right, let's try to put 2 here because we don't have the third user in the database, so it's gonna respond nothing. It's actually crashing here. See, how we can resolve the crash is, it's not going to crash, but I'm going to show you how to fix the crash. let's go here. Let's say just come here, create a try catch block, and then send success message in try. If catches, if something happens, some error happens, I'm gonna send the status with the error method. Let's say 400 or something. If something happens here, this will be something goes wrong here, something happens here with some errors or something, this method, this block will be called, and then this block will be executed, and then this will return an error. Let's try to manually throw some error. Throw new error. I'm gonna call it custom error. Right, I'm gonna run the server again. I'm gonna go to current data. When you send it, bad request. 400 is bad request. We can find the correct error status code and then send it here. Right, I can remove this and then send it again. Restart the server again and then send it again. This should work. When something happens here, it's better to wrap it inside of a try catch block. Everything like this, try catch, and put the logic inside of the try, and then catch, send a response back. If something happens, if error happens, you can say this. If everything goes right, you can send this. When you response.send, when you say that, it means response.status equal 200. 200 is the default. So when you just say send, it's gonna say 200. Say 200. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it. This is the get item. This is the create item, create user. This will be the delete user. This is the update user. You can use patch as well in here. Just patch or boot, doesn't matter. Yeah, this is how you would create a CRUD server. In a real world scenario, this will be a database. This won't be here. You will say get, or in here select user, select all from users, or stuff like that. In MySQL or Process Server or MongoDB or something like that, even Firebase. Yeah, this is pretty much it, I guess. See you guys in another video. Bye bye.